Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf from IT Visualizer channel. We'll continue our lab, the matrix lab. This is the video number 31. I've been discussing in the previous video the following. We have been still working on the tool named Repadmin, which is a very important tool to troubleshoot replication problems concerning the Active Directory database. We have an introduction about this tool. We have an introduction about the terminologies and glossaries that will be used with this tool. So what is replication? We have discussed this. What is full replication? What is inter-site replication? What is intra-site replication? We have discussed all of these terminologies. What are the different switches that are used with this command? So for example, we have repadmin/replicate. We can use this command with the switch /replicate to replicate a certain Active Directory database from a certain from a certain source domain controller to a certain destination domain controller. We can use also another switch called repadmin/kcc. This is to rebuild the replication topology. The KCC is responsible for building the connections that will help for the replication. Okay, this will help the replication to happen, and this it's like building a map for the replication to happen. A map, who are the source disease, who are the destination disease. A map for replication we can see we can say in very simple terms. So we will continue working on discussing this repadmin tool, and a couple of switches are left. For example, if we go and see, we will discuss today the Replsummary, which is a very important switch to get a report concerning the replication of the domain controllers. Okay, and we will also discuss showRepl, which is another tool or another switch to get in-depth information about the replication. So Replsummary, this is a summary for the replication, a very short but useful information about the replication. As for showRepl, it will be detailed informations about the replication of the domain controllers. And lastly, we will talk about showUT VEC, which is also a switch to show the unique number concerning every domain controller. This unique number is used to identify if there is any changes are made on the database of the Active Directory on this domain controller. So this will help the other databases on the other domain controllers to request the change that happened on this domain controller. So this is very simple. We discuss it one by one, but before going further and discussing these switches, we have a small utility which is called AD Explorer. Okay, this is one of the sys internal tools. This is very useful tools that are provided by Microsoft. This is a couple of tools that are used very frequently with system admins in a network or in a domain. For example, one of these are the AD Explorer, which is an advanced Active Directory viewer, database viewer. You can use it to navigate to Active Directory database, define favorite locations, view objects, Active Directory objects and the attributes of these objects without having to open dialog boxes, edit permissions of this object, I mean here security permissions, view an object schema. If you need to see the schema attributes of a certain user, the email, the mobile, so and execute sophisticated searches that you can save and re-execute. Okay, AD Explorer also have a utility to take a snapshot of the database for offline viewing and comparison. When you load a saved snapshot, you can navigate and explore it as you would a live database. If you have two snapshots of an AD database, you can use this AD Explorer comparison functionality to see what objects, attributes, and security permission changed between them. So if you, example, have a snapshot from the Active Directory for 1 year ago and today, you can compare them and see what changes happened, what users are added, what users are deleted, what attributes are added, what permissions are changed on some objects, computer objects or group objects or user objects. So this is very useful utility. Why we use it? So when you use this command, which is repadmin/replicate, if you need to know the partition of the Active Directory database you need to replicate, you can use this utility to get the name of this Active Directory database partition. It is very, very simple. You can use it to get the Active Directory, sorry guys, the Active Directory database name. We will see that now in a moment, how we can do that. So here is Mr. Low van der Pol, and here is the utility itself, how we will download it. So we go to Microsoft Sys internal suite and download it. I prefer you all to download the whole package. It contains a lot of useful software that we will use later in this series of videos. So it's a zip file, you can save it and then extract it, and then we will see how we will use this software which called AD Explorer to explore our Active Directory database. We need only to put the name of the database, which is the domain name matrix.internal, and then put the username and password that will access the database. I put my domain admin account, and then it worked without any problems. So you need to extract the zip file, and then I will copy it to a folder that I share it between my laptop and between the virtual machines on the VMware Workstation Pro, so I can copy and paste or transfer files between my host and my guest, or between my laptop and my virtual machines. Okay, so I copy it in a folder named the matrix lab final. This folder is shared between my laptop and my virtual machines. So now we can open, and this folder is mapped in my virtual machines as the network map drive. Before that, I need to free some RAM so I can use my virtual machines without problems. So I will just close the Microsoft Edge, which is still working even after I have closed it. This is a feature that you can disable in Microsoft Edge not to work in the background. So as you can see here, I have already closed it. I have free about 5% of the RAM. So now I can go and work with the tool. So now I am on my additional domain controller. So this is my domain admin account. I'll put my password. Okay, and then we will go and use the software. This is our custom console. We can open this PC and then go to the shared folder, which is this mapped folder, shared folders, the matrix lab final, and then we can get the sys internal suites folder and put it on my local drive on my virtual machine, and then paste it, and then open the AD Explorer, the 64-bit version. So we can go, and here is the AD Explorer. Okay, we can right click on it and run as administrator, agree, and then you need to put the database. Okay, enter a name for an Active Directory database to which you want to connect. If you previously saved the connection, you do not need to enter a database name. Connect to, so I think here enter a name for Active Directory database you wish to connect. Okay, so this is the name of the database. I didn't know what is the name of my database, but I put my domain name, matrix.internal, then my domain admin account, and it worked perfectly. And tell him to save this connection named matrix. Okay, so here we'll put the username, which is my domain admin account. So I think also here you can use this utility to export certain objects, export it as a text file. So this is like a report of the users and groups within your domain in a CSV file. But I have another way that you can uh, get this kind of data using Excel. Please refer to my COVID-19 lab, the video called Active Directory Life Reports. We can see here this is the Active Directory database. One thing we notice here that the DNS records are saved within the Active Directory database. The domain DNS zone, the forest DNS zone, these are internally saved in the Active Directory database. So this is integrated with the Active Directory database. So it is replicated with the Active Directory database. We can see here this is the domain partition, the configuration partition, the schema partition. We don't have an application partition, and this there are the domain are the DNS zones, okay, that are replicated. So here we can search anything in one of these partitions in the Active Directory database using additional attributes. For example, you can search for a user with the attribute last login time. You can search here and get the last login time for a certain user. This cannot be done using the normal Active Directory users and computers console. Okay, this can be done only here, because here you can search with additional attributes that are not available in the normal search using the Active Directory users and computers. So here, if we explore the database, we can see here these are all the schema attributes of the Active Directory database. Here, this is the domain partition. We can see computer objects, our OU objects. You can get, for example, here we can see that when changed, when created, a lot of things. For example, you can here get, for example, the distinguished name. I think you can get the distinguished name from Active Directory users and computers. Here, if it is a user, you can get the last login time. So this is very, very good tool to get additional attributes and search the Active Directory with these additional attributes. I think also this can be, you can get these attributes of the Active Directory database or the Active Directory users of computers, but you cannot search with them, okay? So let's see. So why I'm doing that, here I am copying this domain partition, matrix.internal, copy it and ask to replicate this partition name. So I don't know the partition name of the domain, for example, or the configuration partition name, I don't know it, or the domain partition name. So I am getting it from the Active Directory Explorer utility. We can see here is the security permissions. We can see you can get a snapshot. This is very, very simple. You can search certain container. So here what I have done here, I have copied this distinguished name and put it in. See, this is the domain partition. I copied the name of the domain partition and ask or put it in the replicate switch. So here I'm putting dmatrix.internal. This I have got this info from the AD Explorer partition. If you do not AD Explorer database, so if you don't know the domain partition in your Active Directory database, you can get it from the AD Explorer utility and put it there. This is the destination DC, the source DC, the partition. This is the domain partition name /full to get all of the changes done on this domain partition, not the latest change. Okay. So here we can see copy object name, as we can see here, and then paste it here. Okay. So this is, and you can do the same command on PowerShell and on command prompt. So this is a good utility you can use to explore the database of the Active Directory, get reports from this database, or export some objects from the Active Directory database. Let me stop at here. This is the Replsummary, but before that, I need to show you all the AI tool, when I ask it to explain this tool or explain the tool named AD Explorer and what does it do exactly, here what ChatGPT told me about this utility.
AD Explorer is a powerful tool from the Microsoft sysinternal suite designed for browsing and inspecting Active Directory (AD) information. It can be particularly useful for IT administrators, security analysts, and anyone responsible for managing or auditing AD environments. Here's when and how you might use AD Explorer using a domain named matrix.internal as an example. When to use AD Explorer. Active Directory auditing. When you need to audit your AD environment to ensure that security policies are properly implemented. Troubleshooting. To diagnose and resolve issues related to AD objects such as users, groups, and organizational units, OUs. Exporting and comparing AD data. To take snapshots of AD data for comparison over time, helping to identify changes that might indicate security issues or policy deviations. Detailed inspection. When you need to perform a deep inspection of AD attributes that are not easily accessible through standard AD tools like Active Directory users and computers, ADUC. Real-world example. Scenario. Security audit and troubleshooting. Domain. Matrix.internal. Setup and initial inspection. Download and open AD Explorer. Connect to your domain by entering the domain controller's name, e.g., dc1.matrix.internal. Browsing the directory. Use AD Explorer to navigate through the AD tree structure. Inspect various OUs, user accounts, groups, and their attributes. For example, you might look at the user's OU to see all user accounts. Auditing user accounts. Check for accounts with expired passwords or accounts that have not logged in for a long time. Verify the last logon timestamp attribute for user accounts to identify inactive accounts. Group memberships. Inspect group memberships to ensure that users have appropriate access levels. Look at the domain admins group to ensure that only authorized personnel are members. Exporting data for analysis. Take a snapshot of the current AD state for documentation or future comparison. Export data to a CSV file for a detailed review or to share with other team members. Troubleshooting issues. If a user reports access issues, use AD Explorer to check the user account control, UAC, settings, and ensure there are no account lockouts. Review the user's group memberships and inherited permissions to diagnose access control issues. Comparing snapshots. Take snapshots of the AD state at different times, e.g., before and after a major update. Use the comparison feature to identify changes in AD attributes or group memberships, helping to detect unauthorized modifications. By using AD Explorer, administrators can gain a comprehensive view of their AD environment, enabling them to perform detailed audits, troubleshoot issues effectively, and maintain a secure and well-managed directory service.
So this is the answer of ChatGPT. If we go to Claude, we will see a similar answer, but let's see what is the answer of Claude. If you go there and ask it to read it loudly, and like that, read out loud.
Particularly useful for identifying recent changes that might have caused the problem. Ad Explorer is a tool in the Microsoft sysinternal suite designed for viewing and editing Active Directory (AD) databases. Its particular troubleshooting. Ad Explorer is a tool in the Microsoft sysinternal suite designed for viewing and editing Active Directory (AD) databases. It's particularly useful for system administrators and IT professionals managing Windows domains. Here's when you might use it and a real-world example for a domain named matrix.internal. When to use Ad Explorer. Troubleshooting AD issues. Examining AD structure and objects. Making quick changes to AD without using the standard Microsoft management tools. Searching for specific AD objects or attributes. Comparing AD snapshots to identify changes over time. Real-world example for matrix.internal. Scenario. The IT team at Matrix Corporation, domain. Matrix.internal needs to investigate why a group of users suddenly lost access to a critical application. Using Ad Explorer. Connect to Matrix.internal domain. Open Ad Explorer and connect to a domain controller in the Matrix internal domain. Navigate the AD structure, browse through the organizational units, OUs, to find the affected users' accounts. Examine group memberships. Check the group memberships of the affected users to see if they're still part of the required security group for application access. Search for the application security group. Use Ad Explorer's search function to quickly locate the security group associated with the application. Review group properties. Examine the group's properties, particularly its member list and any recent changes. Compare AD snapshots. If available, compare a recent AD snapshot with the current state to identify any unintended changes to the group or user accounts. Make necessary corrections. If you find that users were accidentally removed from the group, you can quickly add them back using Ad Explorer. Document changes. Use Ad Explorer's ability to save AD object properties for documentation and future reference. In this example, Ad Explorer allows the IT team to quickly diagnose and resolve the access issue by providing a streamlined interface for examining and modifying AD objects in the Matrix internal domain. Its search and comparison features make it particularly useful for identifying recent changes that might have caused the problem.
So as we can see here, this is the explanation of different AI tools for the AD Explorer utility. If we go and ask ChatGPT now to explain our today's switch, which is repadmin/summary, here I'm asking it to summarize here. This is the Microsoft documentation concerning this switch. So I asked the AI tool to explain it in simple terms. We will see Mr. Low van der Poel have his PDF also summarizing and explaining the switch, but here I'm asking it to explain different data from different sources, one from Microsoft and the other from Mr. Low van der Poel PDF. So let's see first the explanation of ChatGPT for Microsoft documentation. Here we can see explain this in layman term. I took copy of this data here and put it in ChatGPT and ask it to explain it in simple terms. So let's see the answer of ChatGPT concerning this utility. Let's see, or this switch.
Understanding the repadmin/Replsummary command in simple terms. The repadmin Replsummary command is a tool used by IT administrators to check if domain controllers, important servers in a network, are properly sharing information with each other. Here's a breakdown in plain language. What it does. Purpose. It identifies domain controllers that are having trouble sending outbound or receiving inbound information from other controllers. Output. The command provides a summary report showing the status of these connections. How it works. Dots display. When the command runs, it shows a series of dots on the screen. Each dot represents a domain controller being checked. For example, if you see 4 lines of 50 dots each, it means about 100 domain controllers are being processed. Progress. The dots help you understand the progress and how long it might take to complete the check, especially useful in large networks. Running the command, basic syntax. To run the command, you type repadmin Replsummary, followed by specific options or parameters to customize the report. Key parameters and what they do. DSA list. This specifies which domain controllers to check. It can be a single name or a list of names. Shows the status of connections from a particular domain controller to others. /bydest shows the status of connections to a particular domain controller from others. Errors only. Displays only the domain controllers that have errors. Sort organizes the report in different ways, such as by the number of errors or how recent the last successful connection was. Examples. Check all controllers. To get a summary for all domain controllers in the network and sort it by the most outdated information, you would use repadmin/replsum/brceased/sort delta. Why it's useful. This command helps network administrators quickly find and fix problems in the network where domain controllers are not communicating properly. Efficiency. By sorting and filtering the results, admins can prioritize and address the most critical issues first. In short, repadmin/Replsummary is a command line tool that helps ensure the health and efficiency of a network by identifying communication issues between important servers.
So you can get the reply summary or arrange it by certain criteria. For example, the delta here means it will arrange the data according to the latest successful replication. Okay, so this is by timing or by the last replication successful time. You can sort it by destination servers, sorted by failure percentage of the replication. So there is a lot of ways you can sort the data that is displayed on the screen. Okay, so let's see what are these kinds of sort or slash sort. Let's see how you can sort the data in different criteria. Let's see how we have 6 ways we can arrange the data that's displayed by the ripple summary switch.
Understanding the different sort options for repadmin Replsummary. When you run the repadmin Replsummary command, you can use the /sort option to organize the results in various ways. Here's a simple explanation of what each sort option does. 1. Delta. What it does. Sorts by how outdated the information is. Why it's useful helps you quickly see which domain controllers have the most delayed updates. This is important because the older the information, the more likely it is to cause problems. 2. Partners. What it does. Sorts by the number of connections each domain controller has. Why it's useful. Helps you identify which domain controllers are more central, having more connections. Central controllers are often critical to the network's health, so you might want to focus on them first. 3. Failures. What it does. Sorts by the number of times each domain controller has failed to connect with others. Why it's useful. Shows you which domain controllers have the most connection issues. This allows you to prioritize fixing the ones with the most problems. 4. Error. What it does. Sorts by the last error code that prevented successful replication. Why it's useful. Helps you diagnose the root cause of the replication issues by grouping domain controllers with similar errors together. This can be very helpful in troubleshooting. 5. Percent. What it does. Sorts by the percentage of failed connection attempts. Why it's useful. Shows you which domain controllers have the highest failure rates. This way, you can focus on those with the most frequent issues, potentially improving overall network stability. 6. Unresponsive. What it does. Sorts by the names of domain controllers that do not respond to replication requests. Why it's useful. Identifies domain controllers that are completely unresponsive, which are often the most urgent to fix since they aren't communicating at all. Hash summary of uses. Delta. Find the most outdated controllers. Partners. Identify the most connected and potentially critical controllers. Failures. Focus on controllers with the most issues. Diagnose specific problems by error type. Percent. Prioritize controllers with the highest failure rates. Unresponsive. Address completely unresponsive controllers first. By using these sorting options, you can tailor the output to focus on the aspects of network health that are most important to you at any given time.
So as we can see here, this is the explanation of ChatGPT for this data. If we go and ask it to explain, uh, okay, I think I have already explained this, or we have seen this, or have given ChatGPT or explained this data. Let me give it a certain uh, something here. Let's ask it to give it a real world example to explain what we have said in a couple of minutes. Here we can copy and ask ChatGPT to explain this. Here we go. So this is a good one. If we tell it, this is, I will read this explanation, but wait for a moment. We need also to ask it to explain uh, all of these, or the rest of the switches. Okay, for example, we need to explain these using real world example. We will see that in a moment. So let's read. Here is giving us the sort parameter using a real world example. Okay, but before that, let me show you the answer of Claude. So if you go to Claude and ask it to explain these switches, okay, in a different scenario, or let me see the answer of Claude first before getting the answer of ChatGPT.
Sure. I'll explain this in simpler terms. RepAdmin is a tool used by IT professionals to manage and monitor how information is shared between computers in a network, specifically in a Windows environment. The command you've mentioned is used to get a summary of how well this information sharing, called replication, is working. Let's break it down. /Replsummary means you want a summary of the replication status. DSA underlist is where you'd list the computers you want to check. /BYSRC and /BIDIST tell the tool to organize the results by source and destination computers. /errors only means you only want to see problems, not successful operations. The /sort option lets you choose how to organize the results. You can sort by delta, how long it's been since computers successfully shared information. Partners, how many other computers each computer is supposed to share with. Failures, how many times each computer failed to share information. Error, what kind of problem occurred last time. Percent, what percentage of sharing attempts failed. Unresponsive, separates computers that are responding from those that aren't.
Okay, if we ask this one.
Start new chat. Start chats you use often. This command is like asking for a health check of your computer network. It helps IT folks quickly see which computers are having trouble sharing information, how bad the problem is, and what kind of issues they're having. This way, they can focus on fixing the most important problems first.
So this is the explanation of Claude. Let's see the real world example that he will explain these terms in it, and then we will go to ChatGPT and ask it the same question. So let's see the answer here.
Certainly. Let's use a real-world example with the domain matrix.internal, which has two domain controllers. PDC, Primary Domain Controller DCSM0125. ADC, Additional Domain Controller DCSM0225. Scenario: the IT administrator of Matrix Corporation wants to check the health of Active Directory replication between these two domain controllers. They suspect there might be some replication issues and want to investigate. Example command: copy repadmin/Replsummary DCSM0125 DCSM0225 /BYSRC/BIDIST/errors only/sort delta. Let's break down what this command does in the context of matrix internal. It checks the replication status between DCSM0125 and DCSM0225. It shows results from both directions, DCSM012 5 to DCSM022 5 and vice versa. It only displays errors, not successful replications. It sorts the results by the time since the last successful replication. Now, let's look at some possible outcomes and what they mean. If sorted by delta, the results might show that DCSM022 5 hasn't successfully replicated with DCSM012 5 for 2 hours. This immediately tells the admin which server to focus on and how urgent the problem is. If sorted by partners, this would show how many replication partners each DC has. In this simple setup, both should have one partner, each other. If one shows 0 partners, it indicates a serious connection issue. If sorted by failures, it might reveal that DCSM0225 has failed to replicate 5 times in the last hour, while DCSM0125 has no failures. This suggests the problem is likely with DCSM0225 or the network connection to it. If sorted by error, it could show an error code like 8524 for DCSM0225, which means the DSA operation is unable to proceed because of a DNS lookup failure. This gives the admin a specific issue to troubleshoot, possibly related to DNS configuration. If sorted by percent, it might show that DCSM0225 has a 75% failure rate in replication attempts. This high percentage indicates a persistent problem that needs immediate attention. If using unresponsive, if DCSM0225 is grouped under unresponsive, it means the server isn't communicating at all, which could indicate it's offline or has a severe networking issue. Real-world action. Based on these results, the IT admin at Matrix Corporation would know which server, in this case, likely DCSM0225, is having issues, how severe the problem is, and where to start troubleshooting. They might need to check the network connection to DCSM0225, verify its DNS settings, or investigate why it's not responding if it's shown as unresponsive. This command helps the admin quickly diagnose replication health in the Matrix internal domain, ensuring that both domain controllers have up-to-date information, which is crucial for the smooth operation of the company's IT infrastructure.
Very, very good example, and I think it's better than ChatGPT for all. But let's see the answer of ChatGPT concerning if we need to sort the data using different sorting. So if you need to sort it by time, sorting by partners, let's see the switch or how we can sort the data with the Replsummary switch.
Real-world example, using repadmin Replsummary with a domain named matrix.internal. Imagine you are a network administrator managing a domain named matrix.internal. In this domain, you have two domain controllers. Primary domain controller, PDC, named DCSM105, additional domain controller, ADC, named DCSM0225. You want to ensure that these domain controllers are properly replicating information with each other. To do this, you can use the repadmin Replsummary command with various /sort options to get a detailed view of their replication status. Running the command. To check the replication summary, you run repadmin Replsummary DCSM row 125 DCSM row 225. This command will show you the overall replication status for these two domain controllers. Using the sort options. Now, let's see how different sort options help you prioritize your troubleshooting. 1 Delta repad memory DCSM row 125 DCSM row 225 /sort example output. The report shows that DCSM 0225 has the oldest data, not updated for the last 12 hours. Real-world use. You focus on DCSM 0225 to find out why its information is so outdated, ensuring all recent changes are correctly replicated. Number 2. Repadmin Replsummary DCSM 0125 DCSM 0225 /sort partners. It shows that DCSM 0125 has 5 replication partners, while DCSM 25 has 3. Real-world use. You notice that DCSM 0125 is more central in your network, so you prioritize checking its replication status because any issues there could impact more parts of your network. 3. Repadmin Replsummary DCSM 0125 DCSM 0225 /sort failures. DCSM 1255 has 10 failures, while DCSM 225 has 2. Real-world use. Since DCSM 125 has more replication failures, you start troubleshooting it first to understand and fix the high number of errors. 4. Repadmin /Replsummary DCSM 125 DCSM 225 /sort. Example output. DCSM 125 and DCSM 025 both show an error code 8453. Replication access was denied. Real-world use. This suggests a permissions issue. You would check and update the permission settings to resolve these errors. 5. Repadmin Replsummary DCSM 125 DCSM 225 /%. Example output. DCSM 125 has a 20% failure rate, while DCSM 225 has a 10% failure rate. Real-world use. With a higher failure rate, DCSM 125 becomes your focus, as improving its performance will significantly reduce overall network replication issues. Number 6. Unresponsive Replsummary DCSM0125, DCSM0225/sort unresponsive. Example output. DCSM0225 is listed as unresponsive. Real-world use. Since DCSM025 isn't responding at all, it becomes your immediate priority to check if the server is online, its network connection, or any service issues. Summary. By running these commands with different /sort options, you can quickly identify and address the most critical replication issues in your network. Whether it's outdated data, high failure rates, or completely unresponsive domain controllers, these tools help you ensure that your domain controllers like DCSM0125 and DCSM0225 in matrix.internal are functioning smoothly.
Very, very good example. So now we have a complete view about the Replsummary. We need to have this report to be issued every day. So for example, if you have a couple of domain controllers, you need to create a task on each domain controller to run this summary, or to have this summary exported every day on each domain controller, and then take this exported reports and compare them or see the results, or to check your replication health every day. Or you can do it on one domain controller. It will execute the Replsummary on all of the domain controllers. So this is one good thing to do, to have a Replsummary report to be issued every day. Okay, and you compare the replication or the summary or the replication health of your domain controllers every day. So if, as we can see here, when we issued the command, now we have all of the domain controllers, the last successful replication from 45 minutes, the replication partners, the failures if there is failures, the errors if there is errors. So we need this to be exported in a report for all of the domain controllers in our domain, and check this report every day. We can do this using the task scheduler in Windows to run a task, to run the Replsummary command every day and export it to a report so we can check it. Let's see how we can do this. This is very simple, like the DCDiag health schedule task. We have done this before. We need to have the DCDiag report to be or the DCDiag tool to be run every day, and the data to be exported to a CSV file or text file, and to compare it or to check it every day. We have done this before. We need to do the same for the Replsummary. So it is very, very simple. We can do that. I will show you all how we can do this, and we will ask the AI tools to make it more simple for us to do it. So let's see, or let me show you all how we can do that. Here I'm just trying to show you guys that you can run the same command on two different platforms, like the PowerShell platform and the command prompt platform. So here what we need to do, we need to go and create a scheduled task to run the repadmin/Replsummary every day, okay, and this command will run on all of the domain controllers. So let's see how we can do that. So if we go and open the task scheduler, this is very, very simple. We have done this before. So we need to open the control panel, and then we can open the task scheduler. Okay, here we go. We need to open the task scheduler. Okay, and then we will begin creating a task to run this command every day and check the status of the replication. Let's see when we asked the AI tools to give us the steps to do that. If you go there, let me go further and show you all. Here I'm telling it I need to make a schedule task in Windows to run repl/summary/so and so. So here I'm telling it to run the replication or get the replication summary, only the errors, and sort by failures. So this is very, very good. So I only need to focus on the errors and the failures of the replication, not the whole replication process or the successful replications, and export it to CSV file in drepadmin. So here let's see what ChatGPT told us how we can do that, and it is very, very detailed actually. So let's see that.
To create a scheduled task in Windows that runs the repadmin / Replsummary / bysrc / bytest / errors only / sort failures command and exports the output to a CSV file in d:\repadmin. Follow these steps. Step 1. Create a batch file. Open Notepad or any text editor. Paste the following script. Batch. Copy code. At echo off set output our laughing face : repadmin set output the file equals %output %replsummary dot csv if not exist %output or dear %output or repadmin / replsummary / bysrc / bytest / errors only / sort failures. Save the file with a.bat extension, e.g. repadmin task.bat. Step 2. Create the scheduled task. Open the task scheduler. Press Win+R, type tasks.msc, and press Enter. In the task scheduler, select Create Basic Task from the right-hand panel. Name and description. Name: Repadmin Summary Export. Description: runs repadmin / Replsummary and exports the result to a CSV file. Trigger: choose when you want the task to start. For example, you can set it to run daily, weekly, or at specific intervals. For daily, select Daily and click Next. Set the start time and the recurrence interval, e.g., every 1 day, and click Next. Action: choose Start a Program and click Next. In the Program/Script field, click Browse and select the batch file you created, repadmin_task.bat. Finish. Review your settings and click Finish to create the task. Step 3. Verify the task. In the Task Scheduler, locate your new task in the Task Scheduler library. Right-click the task and select Run to test it. Check d:\repadmin to ensure the Replsummary CSV file has been created and contains the expected output. Optional: set task to run with highest privileges. In the Task Scheduler, right-click your task and select Properties. Go to the General tab. Check Run with highest privileges. Click OK. This ensures that the task has the necessary permissions to run the repadmin command and access the directory. By following these steps, you can create a scheduled task that automatically runs the repadmin command, captures the output, and saves it to a CSV file on a regular basis.
So as we can see here, this is very, very simple steps. Let me go on it with a simple thing. I have already copied these command and put it. What we have done, we have created a text file. So if you can, this is the final, but let me do it one by one. Here is a text file. We will create it like that. Okay, this is the text file, and then we will go and copy the code. Okay, and then put it like that. Then Control V, and then save it, and then we can rename it k2.bat or batch file. Okay, and here it will be a batch file. Sorry, and then we can name it repadmin task. Okay, copy, and then we can go like that to rename it, then Control V, and then we can open the task scheduler through the run command. If we tell him start run, then I have it already there. It is task schd.msc. Here you go, and then we can, here you go, we want to make a task, right click and create a task. Then we can basically go step by step. Here is the name of the report, or sorry, the name of the task. Here you go, like that. Repl export. copy, and then we can go like that and put here is the name, and then here is the description. If you go like that, okay, and here you go, copy, and then put it like that. Here is the description, and you need to make sure run whether the user is logged in or not. Do not store password. The task will only have access to local computer resources. You can tell it not to store password, but I think you need to store the password and choose a user that has full access on all of the servers, because the rep admin slash rep summary need to execute this command on remote domain controllers. So who will execute this commands need to have access on the servers remotely. So you need to use the domain admin account or any user that have privileges on the local domain controller and the remote domain controllers, and then we can run it with the highest privilege, and then we can choose our platform, which is Windows Server 2022, for example, and then we can go to the triggers and then tell him new, and then we can choose to run it daily, for example, maybe at AM, okay, like that, every day, and then like this one, okay, and then we can go to the actions and then tell him new, and then go to browse our desktop and then go to the task that you have created, or sorry, the rep admin bat, and then okay. And then you can go like this, and then conditions. Let's see if there is anything else we need to focus on. Okay, so this is it. Okay, this is the task. Okay, we will have a couple of things. When we ask Claude the same question, it will give us some additional information. So if we do everything and then tell him okay, this he need to give the password. Okay, I need to put my password. Okay, and okay. So here is the task. I will delete it later. So this is the Replsummary. It will run at 12 a.m. Okay, so this is it. If we go and ask Claude the same question, okay, he will give us another script similar to what ChatGPT have given us, but here there is an advantage. He will save uh, uh, every day a report. So you will have, if you are running this report through all of the months, you will have 30 files. But as for the script of ChatGPT, it will overwrite. So, for example, if you run it in the first day, it will take the report, and in the second day, it will overwrite the data in the first day. So there is only one file, and the data will be overwritten every day, or maybe it will be appended. I don't know actually, but the other one for Claude will be more more practical, because you will have 30 files for the 30 days of the months. Let's see ChatGPT, or let's see Claude and its answer concerning this.
Certainly. I'll guide you through creating a scheduled task in Windows to run that repadmin command and export the results to a CSV file. We'll do this in two parts. First, we'll create a batch script to run the command and export the results. Then we'll set up the scheduled task to run this script. Part 1. Create the batch script. Open Notepad or any text editor. Copy and paste the following lines into the editor. Batch. Copy. At echo offset date equals percent date, dash 4% date, 3, 2% date, 0, 2% set time equals percent time, 0, 2% time, 3, 2% time, 6, 2% set file name laughing face colon backslash repadmin backslash repadmin under percent time percent. CSV repadmin slash Replsummary slash bysrc slash bytest slash errors only slash sort. Failures. Save this file as repadmin export.bat in a location you can easily find, like c colon backslash scripts backslash repadmin export.bat. This script does the following. Creates a file name with the current date and time. Runs the repadmin command. exports the results to the specified CSV file in the d:\\repadmin folder. Part 2. Create the scheduled task. Open Task Scheduler. You can search for it in the Start menu. In the right-hand Actions pane, click Create Task. In the General tab, name Repadmin Export Task. Select Run whether user is logged on or not. Select Run with highest privileges. In the Triggers tab, click New. Set it to run on a schedule that suits your needs, e.g., daily at 1 a.m. Click OK. In the Actions tab, click New. Action. Start a program. Program/script, browse to, and select your repadmin export.bat file. Click OK. In the Conditions tab, you can leave these at their defaults or adjust as needed. In the Settings tab, check Allow task to be run on demand. Check Run task as soon as possible after a scheduled start is missed. Click OK to create the task. You may be prompted to enter the credentials of an account with administrator privileges to run this task. Now, this task will run automatically according to the schedule you set. It will execute the repadmin command and save the results to a CSV file in the d:\repadmin folder with the file name including the date and time of execution. Remember to ensure that the d:\repadmin folder exists and the account running the task has right permissions to it. The account running the task has the necessary permissions to execute repadmin commands. You can test the task by right-clicking it in Task Scheduler and selecting Run to make sure it works as expected.
So as you can see here, very detailed also answer. One thing we missed here, if we can go to the setting and then allow to task run on demand, run the task as soon as possible after schedule start is missed. If the schedule start is missed, all the time is missed, it will run it again. Okay, so this is one thing. Here is the task, and then we need to put the password. Okay, and here is the simple thing to do the task. So we will right click and delete the task. Okay, this is how we go do a schedule task, okay, to run the Replsummary. If we go to continue, let me show you all. We continue the things here. Okay, so again, let's continue because we have already seen all of these. Let's continue, and then one thing here. Let's wait for this one. Just wait for a moment. So if we go to the PowerPoint slides, here is we have discussed this, and then here is the data, and here is the results. Okay, we can see in source. Okay, so these are all slides explaining the data for the replication. Okay, in the source DC and the destination DC. The longest amount of time, this is the delta, the longest amount of time has elapsed since successful replication with the corresponding domain controller. And then we can see here the column represents the longest amount of time. Okay, this is the largest data. And then the failed replication, at the failed replication out of the total attempt, for example, 5 out of 5, indicates that all 5 out of 5 replication attempts have failed. So here he's talking about the fails. Okay, if there is no 0 fails, then the 10 replication of the are done. So if there is 5 out of 5 or fail 5 out of 5, then all of the replications are failed. So simply, and there is the percentage. So we can see here very simple and very good to explain. Okay, and there is the error if there is an error. So simple thing. And then we can see the error. So very simple, the fails and the error code. So very simple thing to do. And by the way, there is a tool. Okay, if you don't like to export this kind of data or to display this kind of data on your screen using commands, you can or to issue the repadmin command from the command prompt or the PowerShell. There is a software that can get the replication the replication status using software. So this was first issued by Microsoft. It was discontinued, but one of the employees that was working on this tool has take it and develop it separately from Microsoft, and he is updating this tool. Okay, it's on GitHub. So let's see also how we can get it. But first, let me show you all how to get this tool. Not this one. Again, it's okay, replication status. Okay, repl state, you can go to the latest release. Okay, here you go. This is the latest release. If you go, let me go further. Let me show you all how we will get this simply. Let me show you all. Here we can go to AD replication status, GitHub, GitHub. Okay, and here is this for rounds. We will get a press status, and then you can go to the latest release, and then here is you go simply to download the zip file, and then you can extract it. You will find the utility inside it. Okay, so this is very, very simple. Let's go and run this utility. If we go further like that, it is the utility. We will run it on our domain controller. So we can go further. Here you go, and let's continue. Here it is. Let's run it on our domain controllers. First, we need to close the edge to free some RAM. As we can see, 2 or 3% is freed after closing the edge. Now I can go to my domain controller and run the utility. So here it's in matrix lab final, and then we can get the tool. This is the tool itself. After extracting it, it is downloaded as a zip file. We'll put it locally on our domain controller, and then we need to run it, and then we'll tell it to run. Okay, and then it will get us the status of the replication. We have 2 domain controllers. We will get the status of each one of them. It will get the status of each Active Directory partition. So it's very, very detailed, the same like Replsummary. Here is saying it is RODC, it's not read-only domain controller. So as we can see here, these are all of the partitions. Also, the DNS is included and successful, and the last time it was replicated, successful replication. If there is any errors, it will list it. The operation was successful. This is for the primary domain controller, and this is for the secondary domain controller. As you can see, this is replication from this, the source, and this is the destination, and this is the source, and this is the destination. So as we can see here, very, very simple. Here we can change the color of the software. And then you can export it. As we can see, you can export this report. So you have options to run it through the command prompt or through this utility. Then we will use another thing called show ripl. This is another switch. Okay, if we go and let me get, first of all, need to have some time. Which time we have? We have 1 hour. Okay, I think maybe we can stop at this moment. We will discuss the next time show ripl command. Okay, let me give you a quick summary on it. So the Replsummary helps you understand the replication topology and replication failure. It reports status for each source controller for which the destination has an inbound connection object. So this is more detailed replication status, inbound replication and outbound replication. We will discuss this command in the upcoming video. Okay, so we'll stop at the minute 52 46. Hope this video informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.